I like you. Musclehead is better than bonehead.
With me tonight is Kevin McCullough.
With us now, syndicated columnist Kevin McCullough. Joining us now, Kevin McCullough, who blogs at townhall.com.
I found this thing at townhall.com by Kevin McCullough.
The author of Musclehead Revolution. Overturning liberalism with common sense thinking.
Calling on listeners from across the country to fight back.
You're like a man. You take the well.
You Musclehead. The Musclehead Revolution.
It's what you want, it's what I am, it's what you make me. Without you, there's no doubt I'd never be anything. I can't foresee what I'll become until you make me who I am.
854 miles of double border fence was mandated to be constructed. Homeland Security has $1 billion cash on hand. It's been 6 months and they've done 11 miles. So this administration has a case of the slows, and I think they slowed the fence down so that they could come out with the amnesty at the same time, put the two together, and the Bush, McCain, Kennedy bill would then be accepted by conservatives and liberals alike. It's a bad bill.
When it comes to the issue of immigration and amnesty, no presidential candidate in 2007 has been more precise in what he has said about the issue than my next guest, Duncan Hunter. First of all, welcome to the Musclehead Revolution. We're glad you're with us. It is the big story of the day. We, the people, spoke to the Beltway, and though they tried to shut us out, though they tried to hang up on us, it did not happen. Only 43 senators voting in favor of continuing with the shamnesty legislation that has been working its way in the Senate for the last number of weeks. And joining us live on the Musclehead Hotline here at the beginning of the Revolution broadcast today is Congressman Duncan Hunter. Congressman, welcome back to the Kevin McCullough Show.
Hey, Kevin, great to be with you.
How big of a win is this for the American people today?
Well, this shows that the voice of the people was heard. And that's a result, I think, of literally hundreds of thousands of folks, maybe millions of folks, contacting their senators and their representatives and making statements. And talk radio really is the voice of the people. That's where folks can call in from their work, from their homes, from taking the kids to school, to let folks in Washington know how they feel. So you connected Washington with the American people. And the people didn't like this bill.
They didn't, and just a couple of days ago, to get 65 votes for the closing of the amendments, a lot of the people on our side of this issue, Congressman, were saying, oh no, this actually has a shot of being passed. But they came up 14 votes short of needing to continue the debate, and thus circumventing you guys in the House needing to do anything with it.
Yeah, but on the other hand, remember what we said when they came up with what looked like the passage of the bill, because generally speaking, when that vote is that heavy to cut off debate and to start moving the bill, usually the bill will pass. And so the American people kept calling, and yeah. I think that's the order of the day right now. You got to keep calling. People have to keep calling in and saying, let's nail this one down. Don't let it come back up, because these things can easily be revived. There's people rushing around trying to resuscitate this amnesty bill. And, I think this bill, if we had passed this thing, this would have triggered a third stampede for American borders.
Yeah, it sure would have.
Remember when we passed the amnesty in '86 for 3 million folks, and the Senate wrote a little stop sign. It said, stop, nobody else can come in. They planted it on the border with Mexico, and it was promptly trampled by 12 million new people coming in. And if we passed a second amnesty, you would have a third wave of people coming in expecting to catch the third amnesty. That's human nature, and I think that's what the American people understood.
Congressman, you've been dealing with this in your own district for longer than probably anybody else on Capitol Hill, most aggressively, at least I should say, and it's one of the planks of your platform why you're running for president. You think it is important, and I agree with you, that our borders be secure. I think a lot of people listening to this show would say that the reason they called their senator, the reason they called their representatives in the Senate is because they felt like this bill tried to do too much, too fast, too soon, and far and too complicated a way to make sense to the average person. What will it take at this point in time between now and the end of the year to either get your body of the House of Representatives or to get the Senate to forget about this all-encompassing solution and move to a border security first, border security now type of legislation, similar to the one you got passed and signed in October that we played the clip from the last debate? We've not seen that fulfilled yet. What will it take to get Washington's attention to the matter at hand?
This is real simple because the border fence has already been passed into law. I wrote that bill in October, mandating the 854 miles, and that's an extension of the double fence that we built in San Diego, and that's 2 fences with a Border Patrol road running in between. And you may remember that debate. I had an opportunity to tell Wolf Blitzer it's not that scrawny little fence that you see on CNN with people high jumping it. If you can climb my fence, we sign you up for the Olympics immediately. And this is a double fence with a Border Patrol road in between. When we built that fence, we brought down the smuggling of people and narcotics in our sector by more than 90%. And so nobody climbs that fence. That's a double fence. People can't get through it. Nobody's superhuman. And the bill that I wrote in October that was passed by the Senate, if you want something the Senate can agree on, that was one of them. They passed it 80-19.
That's right.
The House passed it overwhelmingly. The President signed it into law on the 26th of October. And today, and I remember during the debate, we checked on the mileage. They had 11 miles of one half of that double fence constructed. So they're proceeding at a pace it'll take us about 20 years to build the border fence. Today they've got 13 miles done, still at a snail's pace. But all the administration has to do right now is carry out existing law, and they ought to be contracting right now, putting together contracts with multiple contractors where you have literally hundreds of contractors in Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and California. They all have their sections of fence to build. They all have their blueprints. It's just a fence. This isn't rocket science. And they all start at the same time, and they zip this fence up concurrently. We could build that border fence in 6 months.
Well, I believe one of the things you said in your response to that question in that debate is that Homeland Security has $1 billion cash on hand. I mean, are we not able to use that cash to hire the contractors to get it done and have it done within the next couple of weeks?
Absolutely. They've got that cash on hand. They've got, now we checked on it the other day, they said they're down to $860 million. Okay? $860 million. That ain't bad. That means that at $3 million bucks a mile, you could do close to 300 miles of border fence with the cash they've got right now. And we just appropriated another Homeland Security bill with another $1 billion to be spent between the fence and other things, and they could use a big chunk of cash from that. So they've got tons of cash right now that they could use to build the border fence. And, I know Mr. Chertoff he's been on interviews. He said, well, this fence is more complicated than you think. Now, think about this. This is a country that sent people to the moon. This is a country that has been the leader in the greatest high-tech accomplishments in the history of the world, and you got the director of Homeland Security saying, gee, a fence may be a little too complex for us here.
Congressman, one of the things that really bothered me about the whole scenario was the insistence upon Chertoff, Tony Snow, even the president himself, to kind of lash out at those of us that are just genuinely patriotic, concerned Americans worried about our national security. Do you think the administration has learned anything from this experience with the American people? Do you think the Senate body has learned? And what have you in the House of Representatives observed from this, from the way the reaction back to the people? It was almost like we were getting our hands bitten off just for raising them.
Yeah, I hope hopefully one thing they learned that lots of us in politics learn all the time is this. We're here to serve the American people. They're not our servants.
Congressman, always a pleasure.
Hey, many thanks. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. WMCA 570, it's the Musclehead Revolution. Stay with us.
The Musclehead Revolution.